What if I told you that today, now, humanoid robots are fighting alongside soldiers? At Fort Irwin in the Mojave Desert, the U.S. military is testing everything from robot dogs to swarms of drones. We take a look into the AI dope shaping the future of warfare.
All right, so picture this. You're in the Mojave Desert.
Okay.
And there's like this whole mock city, right?
Right.
But instead of people, it's robots rolling in, like a full-on robot army attack.
Whoa.
And this isn't some movie set. This is actually happening right now.
Really?
At Fort Irwin.
Okay.
It's the U.S. Army's, like, biggest training ground.
Huh.
And we're diving into this foreign policy article all about it.
Oh.
It's like the Army's going all in on experimenting with robots, and let me tell you, it's wild.
So what's the goal with Fort Irwin? What are they trying to figure out?
So Fort Irwin, they call it the box.
The box.
It's basically this massive, like, Rhode Island-sized area in the desert.
Okay.
And they've built it to, like, simulate these huge battles against what they call near-peer adversaries.
Near-peer meaning?
Like countries with similar, military power as the U.S.
Gotcha.
I think China, Russia, that kind of level.
So they're prepping for, like, a major conflict?
Yeah, they're trying to get as real as possible.
Intense.
It's grueling. They even have fake casualties, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And a big part of that future they're prepping for. Robots.
Makes sense.
This article talks about everything.
Yeah.
From 8-wheeled vehicles,
Okay.
packed with weapons, to swarms of drones,
Whoa.
and even robot dogs.
No way. Robot dogs, like, what do they do?
I know, right? We'll get into that. But they're not just, like, for show.
Right.
They're actually using them in these mock battles.
Oh, wow.
Like storming buildings, scouting, providing support to the human troops.
So like a real test run.
Yeah, exactly. They want to see how these machines perform under pressure.
Hey, want our free AI dope top AI tools that we use? Chat below. It's our live Google Sheets packed with over 100 killer tools, video, music, photos, AI voices, productivity, script writing, YouTube hacks, captions, the works. Always growing. Live Google Sheet. Always free. AI dope top AI tools that we use. Download and chat below. Back to the show.
So you've got robots on the battlefield now.
Yeah, that's a big change.
What are the advantages the Army is looking for here?
Well, the most obvious one is reducing risk to soldiers. If you can send a robot into a dangerous situation, you might save a human life.
Makes sense.
Especially for things like clearing buildings or scouting enemy positions, that kind of thing.
Okay, but I'm guessing there are some limitations too.
Oh, for sure.
Robots aren't exactly known for, thinking on their feet.
Right. One of the big ones is their reliance on sensors. Things like dust, smoke, even good camouflage can basically blind them. And they don't have peripheral vision.
I see.
So they can be vulnerable to attacks from the sides or behind.
Makes sense. So how are they tackling these limitations?
Well, they're constantly working on the technology.
Okay.
Improving sensors, developing smarter algorithms. But there's another crucial factor.
There's that.
Training.
Training, like, for the robots?
Well, for the robots, yeah, but also for the soldiers.
So both.
Yep. Got to train the soldiers to work effectively alongside the robots.
Interesting.
They have to understand, like, their strengths and weaknesses, how to use them strategically, maintain them in the field, even interpret the data they're getting from the robots.
So they're like partners in a way. Almost like a buddy cop movie, but with robots.
Haha. Yeah, kind of.
I like it.
The article mentions they're aiming for a ratio of, like, 2 or 3 soldiers for every robot. That's a pretty big shift in how the Army thinks about its units.
So it's not just adding robots, it's like changing the whole battlefield.
Yeah, it's a fundamental change.
And this change, I mean, it's being influenced by what's happening in the real world, right?
Oh, absolutely, especially the war in Ukraine.
The article mentioned that, yeah. That's been a real eye-opener for the Army, especially when it comes to drones.
Yeah, Ukraine has shown just how effective these smaller commercial drones can be.
Like the ones you can just buy.
Yeah, they're cheap, easy to use, and they're having a huge impact for recon, targeting, even attacks.
It's like using readily available tech to level the playing field.
Exactly. Classic asymmetric warfare.
Smart.
And the Army's definitely paying attention.
Yeah.
They're moving away from those big, expensive drone programs.
Makes sense.
And embracing these smaller, more agile solutions.
So it's not just about having the fanciest tech.
Nope.
It's about having the right tech for the job.
Precisely.
And sometimes that means going smaller and simpler.
Exactly. They even canceled some big programs like the RQ-11 Raven and RQ-7 Shadow drones.
Wow, those were like the mainstays for a while.
They were, but they're not cutting it anymore.
That's got to be tough for the people who worked on those.
Yeah, but it shows how serious they are about staying ahead.
For sure. But all this new tech, it can't be cheap.
You're right. They're facing some tough budget choices.
So how are they managing that?
They have to prioritize.
Okay.
Focus on the technologies that give the biggest bang for the buck.
Right.
They want systems that can do multiple things, not just one specific task.
Versatile, yeah.
Exactly. And they're looking at using existing tech whenever possible. Like commercial sensors and software.
Oh, smart.
It helps cut costs and get things deployed faster.
So it's like a mix of cutting-edge research and being practical.
Exactly. Finding that balance is key.
It's really interesting how they're approaching all this.
Yeah, it's a rapidly changing landscape.
And it's not just about the hardware, right?
Right. They're also putting a lot of resources into software and AI.
AI on the battlefield.
It's a whole other level of complexity.
A whole lot of questions, too.
Absolutely. It's a game changer, but it comes with ethical challenges.
Like, what if the robots start making decisions on their own?
That's the big one, autonomous weapon systems.
Yeah?
That's a debate happening at the highest levels.
Rightfully so.
But even with humans in control, AI can do a lot.
Okay.
It can help with battlefield awareness, analyze tons of data, even suggest courses of action.
So it's like a tool to help humans make better decisions.
Exactly. Augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them.
I see. That makes sense.
AI can process information and spot patterns that humans might miss.
Yeah.
It can help commanders make faster, more informed decisions in really complex situations.
So it's like shifting from reacting to being more proactive.
That's a good way to put it. And a lot of this is driven by the need to keep up with countries like China.
Oh, right. They're investing heavily in AI, too.
Yeah, it's a whole new kind of arms race.
But with different rules.
Exactly. And those rules are still being figured out.
Yeah.
The ethical implications of AI in warfare are huge.
For sure.
We're just starting to grapple with them, but one thing's clear.
What's that?
The future of warfare is going to be all about this intersection of humans and machines.
That's a fascinating and maybe a little bit scary thought.
It definitely is. And, you know, as we talk about this human-machine team,
Yeah.
one thing that really stands out is this need for, like, real trust
Trust between the
soldiers and the robots.
Oh, okay.
You can't have soldiers hesitating, second-guessing the robots in a firefight.
Right. That makes sense.
So the training's got to be intense.
Okay.
Soldiers learning to operate the robots, knowing their limits, anticipating how they'll react.
So, like, how would that even work?
Well, imagine these training exercises
Yeah.
where soldiers and robots are moving as one unit,
Yeah.
reacting to ambushes, coordinating fire support, navigating tricky terrain all together.
That's pretty wild.
And the article talked about this idea of human-robot teams.
Yeah, I remember that.
What do you think that would actually look like?
I don't know. It's hard to picture.
Well, picture this.
Okay.
A small squad moving through a city, lots of buildings, tight spaces.
Okay.
Out front, you've got a robot dog.
The robot dog. Yeah.
It's using its sensors to sniff out danger, sending info back to the soldiers.
Like a scout.
Exactly. And up above, a micro drone is watching everything,
Oh, wow.
sending live video to the squad leader's tablet.
So it's like extending their senses.
Exactly. They can see and hear way more than they could on their own.
That's pretty powerful.
Now, let's say they run into enemy fire.
Uh-oh.
Instead of charging in, they send out a ground robot.
Okay.
Armed with a machine gun, powerful optics, it lays down cover fire.
So the humans can maneuver safely.
Exactly. The robots aren't replacing soldiers. They're multiplying their capabilities.
It's like giving them superpowers.
Uh-huh. Yeah, kinda.
And it goes beyond just the physical stuff, right?
Right. Imagine the squad leader
Yeah.
using an app on their phone.
On their phone.
Yeah, to coordinate movements, share intel, even give orders to the robots.
Like a video game.
It is a lot like that, but with much higher stakes.
For sure.
And speed is key, just like in those games.
Right.
The Army's using mobile tech and AI to make decisions faster.
On the fly.
Yep, they want to push decision-making down to the lowest levels.
So squad leaders can react instantly.
Exactly. They need to be able to adapt in real time.
And a lot of this is because of China.
Right?
The article mentioned that, yeah.
They're known for adopting new tech super fast.
They are. It's a tech race. And the U.S. can't fall behind?
So they have to be adaptable.
More than ever.
And it seems like they're getting better at that.
Yeah, you see it with the drones, using commercial tech.
Right, moving away from those huge, slow programs. It's a necessary change. The old ways just don't work anymore.
Too slow.
Exactly. They need to be quicker, take more risks, work more closely with private companies.
And that new mindset, it's affecting how they approach AI too, right?
Absolutely. They're cautious about autonomous weapons.
Yeah.
But they see the potential of AI to help humans make better decisions.
So it's like finding that balance again.
Finding that sweet spot between leveraging AI but keeping humans in control.
Makes sense.
AI can crunch all that data, find patterns, suggest options.
Right.
But the final call, especially about using force, that has to stay with humans.
That's reassuring.
But there's another scary thought the article brought up.
Oh.
What if our robots fall into enemy hands?
Oh, right. Like they get captured.
Or hacked, jammed, turned against us.
That's terrifying.
It is. It reminds us that relying on tech also makes us vulnerable.
In new ways.
Cybersecurity is crucial now. It's not just an afterthought.
So it's not just about building better robots.
Nope.
It's about protecting them,
Yeah.
too.
Exactly. Layered defenses, secure communications, training soldiers to spot cyber threats.
It's a whole other battlefront.
It is. The lines between the physical and digital are blurring.
Like, the next war could be won or lost in cyberspace.
It's possible. Whoever controls the information, disrupts the enemy's networks, protects their own systems, they'll have a huge advantage.
So it's not just boots on the ground anymore.
It's bytes in the cloud.
That's a good way to put it.
And this changes everything. How we think about war, the skills we need, the strategies we use.
That's a whole new world.
It really is.
The article painted this crazy picture of robots and AI changing the battlefield.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
But beyond the tech itself, what does it mean for the human side of war?
That's the big question. Technology is just a tool. It's humans who decide how to use it.
Right, and the article touched on the psychological impact on soldiers.
Yeah, it's uncharted territory.
Working with robots in life or death situations.
How will they adapt? What happens to camaraderie and trust when your teammate is a machine?
And what about the moral side of things?
Exactly. Will soldiers become desensitized to violence if it's a robot doing the killing?
These are heavy questions.
They are, and we're only beginning to ask them.
So it's not just about teaching soldiers to use the robots.
Right.
It's about preparing them for a whole new kind of battlefield.
And making sure that human judgment, compassion, all those things stay at the center of everything.
Even with all this technology.
Even then, and that reminds me of the quote from General Miller.
The one about Skynet.
Yeah, he's not worried about robots taking over.
Huh.
He's worried about the enemy taking control of our robots.
That's chilling. It is. It shows that having the best tech doesn't guarantee anything.
We could be outsmarting ourselves. It's possible. We have to stay ahead, not just in building new tech, but in understanding the risks, the vulnerabilities.
It's a whole new level of strategy.
And this goes beyond the military.
What do you mean?
Robots are becoming more common everywhere.
In everyday life, yeah.
So the lessons we learn from the military, they'll have implications for all of us.
It's all connected.
It is. The future of warfare is tied to the future of technology.
And both will shape the future of humanity.
That's a powerful thought.
You know, it really hits home that this whole robot thing, it's not just about changing the military.
Yeah, it's way bigger than that.
It's like changing society itself.
It affects everything. Our ethics, laws, even how we define being human.
And the article brought up this point about robots maybe making war more likely.
Oh yeah, that's a scary thought.
Like if countries think they can fight without risking their own soldiers.
Right. Will they be more willing to start conflicts?
It's like lowering the bar for war.
Exactly. Could we see more proxy wars fought entirely by machines?
And what about the human cost? Like, what if a robot malfunctions?
Yeah, causes civilian casualties.
Who's responsible then? The programmer,
Yeah.
the commander, the company that made it.
These are huge questions, and it's not just up to the military to answer them.
Right, this needs to be a global discussion.
We need ethicists, lawyers, policymakers, everyone.
To figure out the rules, the ethical lines,
We need to do it now, before the tech gets too far ahead of us.
before it's too late.
Exactly. We need to define what robots can and can't do on their own.
Set clear limits.
Make sure humans are always making the final decisions, especially about using force.
And we have to think about the long-term consequences.
What happens if robotic warfare becomes normal?
Yeah, does it make us less empathetic?
Do we become detached from the real cost of war?
Does it make war seem more acceptable?
Like, just another option for solving problems.
These are tough questions, but we can't ignore them.
The choices we make today will have a huge impact on the future.
On how wars are fought, on what the world looks like.
It's a lot to consider.
I'm just struck by how complex this all is.
It is so many layers. Technology, ethics, law, society, it all intersects.
And Fort Irwin, those experiments, it's like a preview of what's coming.
A future where robots are part of war, for better or worse.
And it's our responsibility to make sure it's for the better.
To ensure that technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
That's a good way to put it.
We have to be mindful, make conscious choices.
Well, this has been a fascinating and thought-provoking deep dive.
It really makes you think.
The robots are coming, whether we're ready or not.
But we can be ready. We can shape how this unfolds.
It starts with awareness, with having these conversations.
Asking the tough questions, demanding answers.
That's what this deep dive is all about. Getting people thinking, getting them engaged.
And hopefully inspiring action.
So stay informed, stay curious, and keep questioning.
Click this next video for our deep dive look at how humanoid robots will revolutionize economies and everyday life. Click now.